Since the beginning of Beyblade, since the Bogatan shoot, defense type Beyblades have had a massive following, a massive amount of dedicated followers who just absolutely love the defensive type Bey for Beyblade. However, for Beyblade X, the defensive type Beys have been amongst the most hated Beys to be released from Takara Tomy due to their lightweight design. However, today we're going to look at why these defensive type Beys are actually probably the best Beys that you could get in Beyblade X so far. Hey, how's it going, you guys? We are back with a new video, and today we're diving into the secrets of the defensive type Beys for Beyblade X. Now, before we continue on with this video, if you are looking for any of these new Beyblade X Beys, all the way back to Night Shield and all the way up to the latest release of Cobalt Dragoon, as well as the pre-orders of Phoenix Rudder and Leon Crest, make sure you go check out BeysandBricks.com, LessSpinBeys official sponsor, and make sure you use code LessSpinBeys2 at checkout to get yourself an epic 7% discount off of every item in your cart. So people across the world have just been absolutely dogging and hating on the defensive type Bey for Beyblade X, and for good reason. Some of their designs, though very cool and very slick and unique with some sharp counter-attack capabilities, the defensive type Beys here in Beyblade X have just been absolutely hated. Amongst the lowest voted for their favorite type of Beys in Beyblade X. Now, in the previous generations, the defensive type Beys surprisingly weighed quite a bit, which was justifiable. The more you weigh, the harder it is to knock you out of the stadium. Hence why in previous generations, defensive type Beys were able to easily tank some of the heaviest hitting Beys in Beyblade history. But that is not the case with Beyblade X. Beyblade X, the defensive type Beys, these Beys are amongst the lightest Beys in the entire line so far for the Beyblade X generation. But going back to the very start of Beyblade X, there is one thing that we have learned that a lot of people have forgotten about and have only applied and remembered when it comes to the attack types. Beyblade X has completely changed the way you play Beyblade, and that is a fact. You can no longer just launch at an angle and expect a rush launch and a barrage of attacks like you were able to in Beyblade Burst. For attack types, you had to change your gameplay, you had to change and adapt in order to master the attack types, the balance types, and even the stamina types. Now defensive types are no different. When you're looking at the defensive types, the one thing every type has in common is they are all a form and a variation of the needle bit, a very fine point. Now for Beyblade X, stamina types and defensive types have taken a complete change and swapped positions when it comes to gameplay. In previous generations, stamina types would hang out in the center to avoid the attacks, and defensive types will move around very slowly around the outer ring. However, for Beyblade X, the stamina types now move around the center ring. That way they're capable of being able to dodge some of the heavy attacks from the extreme line. Now defensive types are meant to stay strong in the center. That way they could take that extreme dash and be able to withstand the attack without losing its footing, bursting, or even getting an extreme finish. But with the light framework of Beyblade X with the defensive type Beys, when launching at the wrong angle, these defensive type Beys, the attack type Beys will pick these Beys up and just completely destroy them and send them right out of the stadium. The animated series in Beyblade since the beginning has always been a good reference point to see how you want to launch and how each of the Beys actually function in battle. And when you pay attention to most of the battles for Beyblade X, the defensive type Beys are not launched at a complete flat angle like you would in Beyblade Burst, Metal Fight, or even a Plastic Generation. Almost always, these Beys are going to be launched at an angle. Now that is due for the simple fact of everything is based off the needle bit, that fine point right there. Your Beys are going to be spinning on that angle right there, and what that does is it provides literally a shield that prevents some of the attack type Beys from getting up and under and bursting your Bey. Now further on in game, these Beys will stabilize and they will start to straighten up and balance themselves out after being able to tank some of the heaviest hits from the other attack type Beys, thus reinforcing their defensive capabilities and rendering the attack types very useless. Now bringing out the stadium to kind of demonstrate what I am talking about when it comes to how to launch a defensive type Beys, because I will say this, the defensive type Beys in Beyblade X are still amongst my favorite type of Beys to actually use in the game. So when launching any defensive type Beys, you want to launch at that angle. You want to be able to get them to tilt. And what that does is that allows for your Bey to move like that and to be able to kind of parry off, smack, and just swat away any of the heavy attacks. Then later on, as they start to lose stamina, they're going to balance out, but that is not till after the attack types have simply ran out of juice with all their power. Now let's bring in some attack types and demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to launching a defensive type A in Beyblade X and turning the tides and actually utilizing the defensive type A the correct way. Now the way Night Shield is angled is able to completely draw out all the power from Dran Sword. Now Dran Sword does not have enough stamina to be able to catch that extreme line. Therefore, Night Shield is going to win that battle almost with a 100% victory. See, Night Shield is able to easily parry off some of those heavy attacks by Dran Sword. Now Dran Sword once more is completely out of stamina. Night Shield is stabilizing himself, and now he's going to be able to tank those hits and smash Dran Sword to the ground, easily taking a victory. Now some of the Beys, much like Sphinx Cowl, is designed mostly for a very heavy counter attack, and not just that, but it's called a Barrage defense, meaning the recoil with the gear needle is going to send him straight back for a quick counter attack, thus resulting in a Barrage defense. But even with the gear needle, the launching method is still going to be the same. You're still going to launch it at that angle to be able to get him to kind of sway and wobble to maximize the defensive capabilities of Beyblade X defense types. And there it goes with Sphinx Cowl. There is his counter attack. He quickly goes in and be able to make a nice counter attack against Phoenix Feather. And already Phoenix Feather is out of juice. Sphinx Cowl is still spinning very strong, and that is what we're looking for with the defensive type Beys. Now you have to be very precise when it comes to launching and using a defensive type Bey. If you get that angle wrong, even if the slightest, he will lose stamina very quickly, just like that. I did not launch at an angle. I launched almost completely flat for Sphinx Cowl, and that is almost going to guarantee you a loss when it comes to Beyblade X. Now the new defensive type with Black Shell, the Drasil remake essentially, with the dot bit is a little bit different. However, it is still a variation of the needle bit. It still has that nice fine point with some dots on there to increase friction, which is going to keep it stabilized and prevent it from sliding around the stadium too much. However, the launching technique is still going to be the same if you want to be able to utilize Black Shell to take some wins when it comes to any of the Beyblade X tournaments out there. There he goes. Instead of hitting and being able to get an upper and a strong attack, Dran Buster is only able to hit the top of Black Shell. And now Black Shell is completely one in stamina and easily able to take out one of the best Beys for attack types for Beyblade X, and that is Dran Buster. And he is still spinning strong. See, even with a very heavy attack like that, Drasil or Black Shell is able to kind of come back easily, be able to tank those hits. Dran Buster is now struggling, and there it is. Just by a hair, even though he was severely knocked off balance, he was still able to pull off a survivor finish. And that is how you're going to win with the defensive type A against any of the meta that people are using for attack types. And there you guys go. The secret and the power behind the defensive type Beys in Beyblade X is no joke. Now, a last secret that I have kept from you guys when it comes to launching a Beyblade X defensive type A and securing your victory is the sheer power behind it. In the anime, it does show every single owner of the defensive type Beys in the anime is an incredibly powerful blader. And not just powerful as in their resonance with the Bey, but power as in physical strength behind their launch. Most dominant in that with the defensive type Beys is going to be the owner of Rhino Horn. Now that little girl, as small as she was, is a powerhouse, and it shows in the anime. So when launching a defensive type Bey, you need to launch with your full power. Defensive type Beys rely strongly on the incredible speed of the spin. The harder you launch, the more guaranteed your victory is going to be. And not only that, but the harder you guys launch, your defensive type Beys have a greater chance of bursting your opponent's attack type Beys with ease. But let me know in the comments below what defensive type Bey is your favorite so far for Beyblade X. Now that is everything for this video. Stay tuned. We have the battle arena returning to Left Spin Beys. I am still working on a few last minute details to get this event organized to make it one of the best and the most epic series that you are going to see here on YouTube with Beyblade X. I am waiting on some people. This tournament event is going to be massive, and it's something you are definitely not going to want to miss. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.